The following podcast may contain adult language and an abundance of salt. So get ready, nerds, because we're talking The Falcon and Winter Soldier, Episode 5. Welcome and thank you for joining us on the Salt and Air Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about the new episode of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I'm joined, as always, by my fantastic panel of nerds, starting with Tom. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers, sir.
Thank you for joining us today. How are you doing?
Oh, it's been a blast. We're on a full day here, so it's been pretty exciting at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to talking about Falcon and Winter Soldier.
I'm also joined by Jude.
Hello.
You weak bitch.
The Tillamook is so much softer than that last stuff.
Oh, that was Jack. I gave you Jack.
Oh, okay, it's much softer than that last stuff.
Yeah, I knew you didn't like the other stuff.
Oh, it's too much.
Mine was tequila.
I'm also joined by Matthew Kadish, producer of the show.
I'm so glad this show's almost over.
Yeah, this show has just been a roller coaster ride. All right, guys. So what we do on the podcast for the Falcon and Winter Soldier is Kadish is going to take us through step by step what happens in the episode. We're going to interrupt and talk about different scenes and our thoughts. So thanks for joining us, and take it away, Kadish.
All right, episode 5, entitled Truth. Sam and Bucky fix a boat. That's
The truth
that's
is,
the show.
this show is terrible.
That for 50 minutes, they fix a boat. That's
Well,
it.
what happens
oh
at
my
the beginning?
God. When we started this episode, I was like, all right, pause it for a second. And then I saw how long it was, and I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, it was a full hour. Yeah, it was a long one.
They're getting longer.
All right,
and
so,
not better.
So the beginning of this episode starts off with Walker fighting Sam and Bucky.
Again, the fight scenes in this show are fine.
Mm-hmm.
They're Marvel-esque.
They're the highlight of the show.
Yeah, they're definitely the highlight. So coming off the last episode, with the big cliffhanger that Walker kills some dude with Cap's shield, that was very powerful. Thought it had a lot of momentum going into this episode. And right after this fight with Sam, Bucky, and Walker, the momentum just dies. I was ready to go. I was like, oh man, this show's finally, it's going to be a big epic last 2 or 3 episodes are going to be real high energy. Yeah. And they like shifted from 5th down to 2nd.
Yeah, well, typically for a penultimate episode, which is the second to last episode of a show or a season or whatever, it's a buildup for the big finale. And they literally spend 40 minutes fixing a boat after the initial fight scene.
All the momentum that I had going in, I was really excited. After the last episode, I was like, oh, cool. I'm hooked. I'm in. Let's see what happens with Walker. It's going to be a big fight. It's going to be a lot of action. And they took it in a completely different direction in this episode. And I was kind of like, I felt stunted. I was like, oh, God. Like all that excitement that I had was just out the window. How did you feel, Tom? Just general thoughts on this, on where this episode went.
Yeah, we're just getting started on it. So yeah, we'll be easy on it. I'm going to agree with you 100%, but I took it differently. I have not enjoyed the series particularly very much at all. And I thought the juxtaposition in this one where they kind of change the momentum, they kind of change who the heroes are. They kind of get into the actual, what we've been building up. I thought this episode was actually very redeeming for the series as a whole. If you think about it as a whole, if you think about it as by itself, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but where they place it, Matt was on point where they're like, look, it's the build up to the end. And it was a different show until this episode. Mm-hmm. And now we have a new bad guy. We've got different things going on. We've got philosophies changing. So that part I'm super into because they've really kind of changed the show, which I have not enjoyed. So any change I'm very open to. And
they have a very short period of time to pay that off, though.
I thought Bucky and Falcon should have beat the crap out of this guy pretty handily because they are like, they've
experienced.
They fought Thanos. You know what I mean? Like they have fought Ultron. You know, like give me a break. Like, I mean, well, those two haven't, but yeah, they didn't. Winter Soldier and but they both fought Cap and they should have handled this new fake Cap a little bit better. So that was a little bit annoying, but I want to see what happens at the end.
Okay. Jude, what are your general thoughts on the opening of this?
Okay, so I feel like this is the episode that the show should have started with. Like I'm going to fix the show right now. I'm going to get rid of all of the bullshit from the first, most of the first 4 episodes. And I'm going to start the show off with new Cap kind of going crazy. And I think that's where the show should have started. They just took so much time with all of this. I felt like they spread themselves really thin. Like there's all this stuff over here with Sam and his family and his backstory. And then there's also Bucky's like guilt and what he's dealing with and like trying to redeem himself. And now there's like the bad guy Carly and all of her stuff. And now there's John Walker and he's the new Cap. And now he took the serum and now he's evil-ish. And like there's just so much going on. Like just give me like Sam didn't want the shield. John Walker took it. We thought he was a good guy. Turns out he's a bad guy, and that's the bad guy of the story. Like, fucking make it simple. There's just so much going on, and I don't give a shit about any of it.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, they didn't do a great job. Like we've been talking for the past 4 or 5 episodes about how Carly is like, is she a good guy? Is she a bad guy? Is it Robin Hood?
I've been wanting something to care about through this whole series. Now there's 1 episode left, and the only fucking thing I care about is that it's ending, so that I don't have to watch it anymore.
So, Kadish, as the professional writer of fan fiction, or not fan fiction, I'm sorry, I apologize. The professional writer
How dare
of
you, sir.
science fiction.
Wow.
The professional writer of science
he writes
fiction.
his own fan fiction.
No, he does. No, legit. Like his, like Rook and Behringer, Earthman Jack, I legit like your writing. So you have a unique perspective on the ebbs and flows of TV shows and of storytelling. So coming to the last half of this series, what are your thoughts on this episode, kind of slowing things down a little bit?
I feel like the people making this show don't understand pacing or structure or storytelling. The show is a mess. I don't know how much of that is them having to rejigger things to get rid of the virus subplot and how much of it was just bad writing. Mm-hmm. But the end result is a very uneven show, which doesn't know what it's trying to be. They pitched this as like a 6-hour movie. It would have been better if they had treated it as like an actual TV show. So Jude gave her take on trying to fix this show. My biggest thing is that, I normally hate saying like, well, this is what I would have done. But if you look at this from a structural standpoint, you have probably one of the best villains in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Baron Zemo, right? And you talked about, Tom, how in a previous episode, this was not the same Baron Zemo that we had in Civil War. And I would have to agree with you because I feel like they wasted him in this show. What I would have done is because the fight between John Walker and Bucky and Sam at the beginning of this episode was great. It was really cool. And I feel like that should have been the climax of, at least this episode or, the final episode or something like that, where we finally get John Walker facing off with Bucky and Sam. And Sam goes and reclaims the shield. But in my opinion, it would have been interesting if the show had started off with Sam, turning down the shield, the government choosing Walker and basically making him the new Captain America and forcing Bucky as part of his pardon and Sam to work with him to present this aura of like, this is the new Cap. And John Walker gets the idea to track down Carly by going to Zemo against Sam and Bucky's advice. And Zemo manipulates Walker to the point where he turns him evil and turns him against Sam and Bucky.
This is already a better show.
To the point where they have to fight one another because Zemo manipulated things just like he did in Civil War. And he's actually the puppet master, kind of controlling everything. I mean, in this show, we get Zemo putting on his mask one time to shoot a gun once and kill 3 people. And then he just fucks off to Sokovia and just gets escorted away by the Wakandans and completely wasted his potential. This entire time I was like, are the code words secretly working on Bucky? Is he secretly manipulating things? No, he's just a guy. He's just kind of going with the flow. But if they had actually had him as the villain and he was the one who turned Walker to the dark side and Walker, kind of bought into Zemo's philosophy and turned against Sam and Bucky, and Sam and Bucky had to team up to stop him once he became a super soldier. I feel like that would have been a more satisfying movie because, if Sam basically had to embrace the Captain America persona in order to beat Walker and replace him with something better, I feel like that would have been a more interesting kind of through arc for the series. Instead, what we get is just a hodgepodge weird social justice messaging and political stuff and bad writing. And I feel like you could criticize this show based off of the propaganda that they put into it. But all that aside, it's just a poorly told story. And that's the thing that bothers me the most about it.
So the propaganda thing is a good segue. We're kind of throwing our normal way of talking about the show out the window, but that's okay. So the later on in the show, we get to meet up with Isaiah again, which I think in the last couple episodes, we all said like Isaiah's backstory is freaking
everybody's into Isaiah.
Very interesting.
Give me a Baron Zemo and Isaiah story and sprinkle in a little Bucky and I'm fucking on board.
Like, so I would have loved to have seen some flashbacks to Bucky fighting the young.
Oh yeah,
God, that would have been badass.
That would have been so cool. And so
like, if you want us to create this show, donate to our Kickstarter.
There's a lot of people, a lot of the buzz around this episode is talking about when Sam goes and talks to Isaiah, and there's a lot of really heavy, dark conversation that happens there.
That was such a great conversation.
Very, fuck it, I'll just say it. Very anti-American, very anti, like just the governmental subculture that takes over what it feels like.
I bought it.
Exactly.
100%.
Exactly.
It was so believable.
A lot of people don't like it because they feel like, oh, they're just preaching to us about, what it's like to be black in America. But I'm like, look at his backstory that we're presented with. He was used and abused by the U.S. government, tortured, arrested for 30 years in jail.
And they probably got him to sign up for it.
Of course he's going to be pissed off.
And the love of his life died while he was
in prison. They kept all of that from him?
Yeah. So like when he sits there and he says no self-respecting black man would ever wear the stars and stripes, I'm like,
I understand why he thinks that.
I get it. And what I really credit this episode for is that Sam, although hearing all of that, Sam still at the end of the episode goes, you know what? I'm going to take up the stars and shield. Like I'm going to take up that mantle.
Because it's time for something new. It's time for that to not be.
Yeah, it's time for them to move away from the past and go forward in the right direction as opposed to the wrong direction.
The whole thing about Captain America that I always liked from the comics is that he's the embodiment of what America's supposed to be. It's supposed to be strong. It's supposed to be a symbol of hope.
It's the ideal.
And it's the ideal. And Steve Rogers was always the embodiment of that. Like even when
the ambassador of America.
Yeah,
exactly.
Even America's ass. But even in Civil War, where basically he was like, he was such the believer in freedom that he refused to sign the Sokovia Accords, even though like it would have been politically the better thing to do. Like he stuck to those ideals, and that's always kind of like where you get into the cynical version of America, where people talk about the systemic racism and institutional like biases and all this stuff that like the first world problems of like a great nation.
Here's what the media said was going on versus here's what was really going on.
And when you have, and I will give the show credit that they have been building Sam up to be the replacement, like the reluctant hero who, doesn't want the responsibility, but then he comes to accept it. And he is the spiritual successor to Steve Rogers in the sense that he is the new hope. He is the guy who can show you how great America can be.
And Cap chose him.
Yeah. So like I can get like what they were doing. And I think that it works with what they were doing with Isaiah, because like you said, he came from a different time and he was treated horribly. And I can understand why he would think the way he does. And that influenced Sam, and, Sam saying like, okay, I want to give this guy something new to see. I want to show him that, this country can be better and that people can be better. Like, I think that's a great message. The way they went about getting there though was a little bit suspect in my opinion.
It was so like this.
Tom, we haven't had your thoughts. What are your thoughts on Isaiah's whole commentary on the U.S. and Sam's reaction to it?
Well, a lot of what's happening is, it's very, the subtext of this from WandaVision is very different.
Oh yeah.
WandaVision was fun. This is very serious and very serious tones, a la, the Winter Soldier movie. It was very dark. It was very, the reality is not what you think it is sort of a thing. I think Matt fixed the show just in the short time he's been talking. There's a lot of flaws in this, and it's a very uncomfortable show to watch for a lot of reasons for me. It's tough to say, man. It's tough to say. It's a good show, but
because I know we kind of had a little spat about like the propaganda that was being pushed.
Well,
so do you think this episode was pushing that same style, or do you think they kind of redeemed themselves with Sam kind of?
Well, we were talking about this a little bit earlier when we were off mic, and it was, you know, when there's a message that needs to be put out there, okay, good. But when you start cramming that message down someone's throat, it starts becoming unpalatable. Mm-hmm. So it needs to be presented in a good way. And really this episode really changed the position. And I think even we all kind of agree that a lot of good came out of this boring episode that had nothing to do with the rest of the show, because the rest of the show was a mess.
Yeah.
There was no clear vision. There was no clear, this is what we want to do. None of that happened.
Yeah, like the Flag Smashers had very little to do in this episode.
And it's very confusing.
And it's like, okay, so the bad guys that we've been building up for the past 5 episodes have just been, they're on a sideline. And we get this.
They're on an app. They're a flash mob.
Yeah.
That's a word that hasn't been used in a while, but they're basically a flash mob.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't get it. I don't get it.
It just seemed weird. Like it shifted gears in this episode, and it shifted into a gear where I think if they would have started there, like Jude said, it would have been
wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. It would have been great if we started at this point.
I'm rarely wrong.
If we started with the conversation about race in America and we moved forward and Sam was the one to take up the mantle, and like, yes, that is a political message in and of itself. But if they would have done it in a better way and built it over the last 4 episodes, I think I would have been into it.
So speaking of politics, the next scene after the fight between Walker, Sam, and Bucky is Walker is brought before a government council, and they strip him of his Captain America title. He's dishonorably discharged, losing all of his pensions and benefits. And then he meets Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Before that, though, he like rebuts the
council
chieftain.
Yeah.
You made me.
Yeah. He's like, listen, this is what you made me.
Yeah.
And now you're abandoning me. And he's not wrong.
I think that's every soldier's argument.
Yeah.
I think that's a soldier argument.
They sent him out there with no powers. He went and got his own powers. Then he went crazy. That's not on him.
They don't know
that's on them.
They don't know that.
I think my biggest issue, and this is pretty much systemic through all like Marvel and Disney properties, is the lack of like logic and realism in reaction to this stuff. Like the guy that John Walker killed had just, according to John Walker, killed a Black American like
U.S. soldier,
who was not only just a soldier, but he was Battlestar. He was part of this big propaganda push.
He was his
for
Bucky.
the new Captain America.
The government also did not give powers to.
Yeah.
So like the minute you say this guy killed a Black American like superhero, and Captain America was revenging his friend, okay, they might give him a slap on the wrist. They might trot him out in front of cameras and criticize him, but there's no way they're stripping him of that title. There's no way that they're like taking away his benefits.
They spent
and his
all
pension.
that time and money making him Captain America.
Yeah.
They're not just going to be like, ooh, we made a mistake. You're not the right guy after all.
They're not going to throw their mascot under the bus
No.
like that.
You're not getting likes anymore, so we're not into you.
So let's talk about when
we're going to go ahead and let Julia Louis-Dreyfus
when Elaine
is she the power broker?
When Elaine
I thought she was the VP from Veep.
She might be.
So
it's not clear who she is.
I will say this took me out of the episode completely when I see Elaine from Seinfeld show up.
Was she doing the dance?
I love her.
I love Elaine. Oh my God. And train wreck. There it is.
I love the actress. I love the actress.
And elbows.
Yeah. But like seeing her in this light or in this character
with the blue hair
and the weird comedy in a very dark moment of the show where I was like, this is so out of place. This doesn't make any sense. What's going on?
Who is she supposed to be?
I have no idea.
I feel like she might be the power broker.
Is she the power broker?
I don't know, but that's my theory.
Because she came up very anonymous, very, you don't know who I am.
I got the impression that she was working for the government. Like, hey, publicly, we're going to throw you under the bus, but in reality, we're okay with what you did, and we're going to take you.
This might be the start of him becoming U.S. agent.
Yeah.
Oh, no, for sure. Yeah.
I have a theory.
Go ahead.
So I think that my theory is very. Have you seen Snowpiercer?
Oh, yes. The show or the movie?
Either. The captain does not exist.
Okay.
I think that's the power broker. The power broker doesn't really exist, but there's just a bunch of minions that think they're working for the power broker. And it's all just a bunch of minions.
Well, you know what's interesting is in this show, so we get a scene where Sharon Carter calls up the bad guy from the first episode, Balrock or Batrock.
Balrog.
The French dude?
Yeah, the French dude that both Cap and Sam fought.
You mean George St. Pierre?
George St. Pierre, yeah. And she sends him to go meet with Carly to do like this arms deal, and he wants revenge on Sam. So he teams up with the Flag Smashers because he knows that they're going to.
It's just another convoluted storyline that you signed up for 6 fucking episodes. How much shit are you going to shove into them? Yeah. Can I just have one cohesive storyline, please?
Way too much going on.
Yes, they're trying to do a lot.
You have one episode left.
Yeah.
I already know you're not going to tie up any of these loose threads. I don't want to fucking watch it, but I committed to watching it.
Judah's very salty.
I hate this show.
Yeah, and one of the scenes that I hated is the next scene we're going to talk about, which is that Bucky finds Zemo at the Sokovia Memorial, acts like he's going to shoot him. He's like, oh, psych. Sorry, I pulled all the bullets out. And Zemo's just like letting him like...
And Zemo's like, did you go to the king's funeral? No.
Well, I mean, like the fact that Zemo would just like passively allow someone to kill him doesn't seem to make much sense.
Super soldier, no less, too.
And then the Wakandans come, and Zemo's just like, okay, take me away.
Yeah, he just legit just gave up.
My storyline is done on this show.
Yeah. He's just like, I'm going to go fuck off now.
Yeah. We don't have anything else for you to do, so you're going to disappear. Very much a waste.
I'm not going to pick up a sword. I'm not going to put on my mask.
Yeah.
Is my book still in my cell?
As my personal favorite MCU villain.
Oh, he was the best.
He was I loved him because he was just a human.
Well, he won.
And he won.
He won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Zemo.
He outsmarted Tony Stark.
Yes. I love it. He's awesome. And for him to just be like, yeah, okay, I'll go with you. Like, I was like,
with his dumb accent and stupid jacket.
I love that accent and I love that jacket.
and his dancing.
His dancing.
Hello.
Thank you.
I am Disney Plus. I take your love and I crush it. Fuck you.
No, I love Zemo. And I was watching this episode. I'm like, oh, they clearly had no idea what to do with him after this. And that's the only reason why he was just like, yeah, okay, I'll go. Nah, like, what are the Wakandans going to do with him? Are they going to kill him?
Okay, to Matt.
No, they're taking him to the raft.
Yeah, taking him to the raft.
That super prison. Underwater prison? Yeah, okay.
Him, the Abomination. I'm not too sure who else is there, but that's about it.
Love Sausage.
Love Sausage is there.
It's a different series, Jude.
Love Sausage is there.
Okay, so what happens?
Kick-Ass is there.
I want to get to the point where Bucky apologizes to Sam. So how far away are we from that? I know
we're pretty close.
Okay.
So we already talked about Isaiah, and basically after the Isaiah incident, we get legit like 40 minutes of Sam going back to Louisiana and fixing a boat. And he calls in all the old family favors from, his neighbors and stuff. And
can I jump in for like
no, let him finish.
When we were watching it, I turned to Jude. I was like, oh yeah, like the Avenger. So it's like, hey, this is Sam from down the street. It's like, oh, you mean the guy who saved the world?
Do you mean Black Falcon? No, I'm just the Falcon. Listen, I don't want to get into semantics. Can you come fix my boat? No.
You mean the guy who says on your left? That guy?
That guy? Captain America's
best friend?
Yeah, that guy?
Oh, I'm sorry. That guy's dead. But hey, do you want to come fix my boat?
I could just see his neighbors being like, what you want?
It'd be like an episode, it'd be like the Friday movie where it's like Debo.
My sister's
most people ask for sugar.
You ain't got nothing I want.
My sister's cooking a bunch of etouffee. Come on down. We're going to fix the boat.
Such a weird scene.
Oh, God. Yeah, it was very strange. Very strange. But anyway, continue, Katish.
All right, so Walker visits Lamar's parents and sister and tells them that he killed the man who killed Lamar, aka Battlestar.
He didn't.
Yeah, he lied about that.
Ish.
But I think that he genuinely didn't see Carly kill him. I think that he believed that he avenged his friend.
Guilt by association.
Yeah, and then we get Batrock back in the picture, and okay, now we're at Sam and Bucky practice throwing around Cap's shield, and Bucky admits that he and Steve didn't know how it would feel for a black man to be handed the shield, and apologizes to Sam for giving him a hard time about rejecting it before.
Okay. So without going full, like, left right political hatred. What did you guys think about this scene? Because I have a feeling like I have a different take on it. So
I felt like it was a necessary scene because, yeah, that's something to be said that you as a white man and a superhero / villain didn't take into consideration. And
Anti-hero.
Yeah, and it's different for everyone. I think it would have been different if they had handed it to a woman and then been like, "What the fuck? You didn't want it? Fuck you!" And
Stupid
I think,
girl.
yeah, and because there's hardships that come along with being not a white superhero. I'm sorry, that's just a fact. And because
you don't have to apologize.
Everyone who is a white superhero should know. I don't know. No, but I felt like it was a necessary scene and I appreciated it. And I didn't feel like it was hitting me over the head with it. And I appreciated that it was there and I was invested in it.
Okay. Tom, what's your take on that?
Jude hit on it earlier. Like this scene should have been in the beginning of the show. It seems like everybody is just a savant with throwing and catching this magic shield.
Okay.
I have a pretty good. I've thrown things before and I've caught things before.
I go to Axe Monkeys.
Yeah, I've never caught a magic shield flying at me with like one arm in it, and like doing one of these and back. So that whole like let me train for this is great. Which the new Cap, John Walker, never did any of it, and he's doing all that. So
no, he did.
No, he did.
The training?
Yeah, there was a flashback montage.
There was a
when they were interviewing him for Good Morning America in episode 2, they showed news footage of him training with the shield and throwing it.
And we were all like, what the hell? Does he not have superpowers?
Yeah, and when we were all like, how easy is it to throw around Cap's shield?
It should not be that easy.
Yeah.
It's an afternoon of training.
Yeah, apparently you don't need any special skill or anything to do it.
Yeah, if you can throw an axe, you can throw Cap's shield.
And if the YouTube...
if you can throw a wrench...
If you can throw a wrench.
You can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
Dude, that was good. Fist bump.
Is this wheelchair?
You can throw a wrench. You can throw Cap's shield.
Vince Vaughn making snarky comments.
I do think that, like, as far as the MCU movies are concerned, they have kind of misinterpreted how easy it is to throw the shield.
Yeah,
because
do you remember
it's supposed to be hard.
Do you remember in Winter Soldier, the Captain America movie, when Cap throws the shield and Bucky catches it?
Yeah.
And how big of an oh shit moment that was?
Yeah.
Because that was like Cap's shield.
I feel like it should be like this kind of the same as like Thor's hammer. Like it's an oh shit moment when Cap picks up the hammer. It should be an oh shit moment anytime somebody picks up a shield.
Or catches it. Yeah, for real.
I agree with you to a point, but I will say that the shield itself is just a thin layer of vibranium. Vibranium by itself.
You don't even know what that is.
Vibranium, it's
You're
adamantium.
a thin layer of
what do you consider it? Is it adamantium or vibranium?
What, the shield?
Well, in the MCU,
in MCU, it's vibranium.
I know. I'm just teasing.
In the comic books, it's adamantium.
Yeah. So it
Don't try to trip him up, Alex.
I'm trying to fuck with him, and it's not working.
I'm spot on.
So by itself, the
you know how you know what reactor is in what ship in Star Wars?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know shit about Marvel, bro.
Okay.
You know what the ultimate nullifier is?
Nubian.
Little Annie!
Oh.
Little Annie! You have come back to me!
My tricks don't work on me. Only money.
Your mommy! I sell her!
That went off the rails.
I love being a nerd.
It is fun.
Anyway,
but
the vibranium by itself carries no special powers.
What?
It's just an extremely light, very durable metal.
It's an energy source. It's a lot of things.
Now, Wakanda has learned a way, because when Chitala, I want to make sure I'm pronouncing that correctly. When he makes his
Cthulhu?
When he makes his vibranium suit, they use some kind of weird magic to make it like absorb kinetic energy.
Well, Zamunda happens to have a lot of technology that you don't know about.
Exactly, yeah. So like when I see people pick up the shield itself.
The royal penis was clean.
Isn't that where
our next door neighbor is? What's the
Nextoria.
Nextoria?
Right next to Wakanda.
Oh God, Nextoria. Oh.
Shout out to Coming to America.
God, there's so much pain. Nextoria.
Anyway, the shield itself,
fresh out of prison.
You don't have to have superpowers to use a shield. What you do have to have superpowers, in my opinion, is to use it the way Cap uses it, where he's like bouncing off of things. Yeah. And even Spider-Man in was the Civil War was like, that thing doesn't obey the laws of physics at all. Like, it's noted that when Cap wields the shield, shit goes a little weird, and it's like very comic booky.
Yes, it comes back to him.
Yeah,
regardless,
it doesn't matter where it goes.
Well, part of how he wields the shield has to do with the fact that he has heightened senses and strength and reactions.
Yeah,
and that's an outgrowth of the super soldier serum. And so, like, to just see normal guys with no superpowers like being able to wield it just like he did.
Yeah, and that's the thing with the Marvel universe is that there's always been this sense of continuity. From project to project, and this doesn't have it, and it's fucking infuriating.
Because we all love Christopher Evans as Captain America. Yeah. He was so good.
He did a great job.
So good. He was the. I mean, I got chills when he spoke. He did a good job.
Yeah, when he catched his Mjolnir, oh my god.
I was there day one. The whole place went
Remember
nuts.
when he throws the shield and then he throws the hammer at the shield and then it's just like vibrates and Thanos is like, what the fuck is going on?
Now we got
amazing.
And Thor's like, I knew it.
And then we got John Walker over here doing some bullshit. It pisses me off.
Just peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and throwing shields.
And the Chris Evans Cap tanked a Thor hammer hit on that shield that would have broken the arm or shattered the arm of like any normal human.
Yeah, and John Walker's just having temper tantrums because he couldn't win a battle with the Zamundans. And they weren't super soldiers.
They trained from birth. I don't know if you know.
Great dance troupe too.
Oh my god. Okay.
But you know, one of the things about this show is it is infuriating that the people making it don't seem to realize the stupidity of what they're putting out there.
Yeah, we've all been watching for years.
Yeah, I saw episode 8 and 9. I know how Disney feels about how I feel about this. They don't.
So to kind of reel things back in with Jude's point, I actually really agree with you. I think I know a lot of people criticize that conversation because it was very much like in today's political climate, if you look into like the real world news, it's very much like a white man is apologizing to a black man for being white. Is that what they were going for? I don't know, but I do agree with Jude. I think that conversation needed to happen as far as the characters in the show, like Bucky and Cap, because they're not connected to that world, I guess, to that like like they're both from the 40s, 50s.
It's when they give it grander scale of saying, I'm so sorry. I didn't know how that would affect you.
Yeah, it's more personal. Yeah. I think it's less about what's happening in the real world and it's more about the characters in the universe.
Yeah, like I thought that it would affect you how it affected me.
Yeah.
But you're different than me, and now I realize that.
Yeah. And I have to give credit to him because even despite all of that and despite whatever political connotations are involved into it, Sam still was like, "It's cool, man. I'm going to take it up now. I feel like it's my responsibility to."
Well, they also helped show like, you know, kind of bring back Sam's counselor roots because, you know, he would coach people who had PTSD from the war. Mm-hmm. And, you know, in this episode, we finally, instead of him like bickering with Bucky, he finally like gives him some like actual advice on how to deal with his trauma. And it's like, why weren't you doing this from like the get-go?
Yeah, I didn't need a full season of Sam being Jon Snow saying, I don't want it. Like, just
maybe one episode.
Where we're at right now would have been a great starting point for this whole season. There's only 6 episodes and they shoved so much into it. And I just don't care about anything now. And it's kind of ruining like these characters for me.
Yeah, did you care about the boat? That they spent 40 minutes.
What's the name?
Paul and Darlene? Oh my God. I care so much. I don't fucking care. I give a shit about the shrimp boat.
Yeah, nothing.
Shared hardship increases intimacy. I don't fucking know.
Nothing gets you excited for a series finale like watching 40 minutes of people working on a boat.
It was very strange. Like I said, it really took the momentum.
And fixing the nets. And they fixed the nets.
Yeah.
There's just so much shoved into this 6-episode series, and it's just complete bullshit garbage.
Yeah, it's like they didn't even plot it out before they started doing it.
It's a real shame.
So anyway, after, you know, that scene, we get a montage of Sam training with Cap's shield, which I thought was weird because he was doing it pretty well when he was just in the backyard with Bucky, and now
he's rusty.
But yeah, like one day later, he's really rusty. Now he's like, you know, throwing it around, he's like missing it and like he can't, do it right.
He was doing backflips and stuff. He was getting fancy with it.
Yeah, he was trying some stuff.
Like I can shoot a basketball, but I can't like do a turnaround jumper over two people.
Blindfolded.
Yeah, blindfolded. I can't do that.
Yeah, but I guess you don't need super strength to like throw the shield hard enough to have it embed itself in a tree.
Which is a letdown.
Yeah, that's really weird. That's really weird.
You mean I could do that?
Yes.
And I'm calling bullshit.
I would have.
If you're insinuating that every man can do that, this is not a superhero show.
Like I would have loved for part of Sam's arc to accept the shield is if he was somehow able to recruit Isaiah to train him to be the super
that would have been
soldier.
cool.
It would have been cool, which is why it's not in the show. But
dude, can you imagine even if Isaiah just had a little bit more of involvement in the show, it would have been fantastic.
Like the reluctant Mick in a Rocky movie.
Oh my God!
Yeah, well, then he has to die.
Like the Jake Skywalker.
Oh, what if Walker kills him?
We just fixed it.
My brain just melted.
If Walker kills the mentor of Sam.
Oh my God!
Creates an actual rivalry. An actual bad guy after training him to take up the mantle.
Damn it, you Marvel writers!
And he gets away. He has to get away.
Zemo helps him escape.
Zemo helps him escape because Zemo was on his side the whole time.
What?
Oh man!
I just came.
She's like when Dave Chappelle signs for some weed. She's right over there.
Oh, we just had a nerdgasm.
A storygasm right there.
That's good writing, people. Come on.
Yeah.
God damn it, dude. That would have been amazing.
Man, we fixed this whole show, didn't we?
I don't even want to watch the last episode. That's the season finale right there.
Matt, how long have we been talking?
40 minutes.
For about 37 minutes.
We fixed the whole damn show.
Isaiah is the key.
He is the key.
Like
it was
if Isaiah had been the reluctant mentor who trained Sam
on
how to be a super soldier, I think that would have fixed a lot of issues.
What it means to be a super soldier.
Oh, what it means to be a black super soldier in America in 2020.
He cut me, Mick.
What if he would like having that jaded fuck America attitude the whole time, but then
and Sam pulls him back
and then
from
Sam
that.
pulls him away from that, and he realizes what America actually stands for.
And Isaiah dies.
Oh my God!
Defending
And it turns out Sam was his son.
Oh! I just pooped.
Oh my God, dude. There's so much potential in these freaking stories to have such meaningful and impactful, messages.
Better.
And we get freaking Robin Hood chick who's like, fuck the, I don't know.
You get Enfys Nest.
Yeah, it's just a Disney princess.
I don't want her at all.
I'm genuinely upset. Like, that is a...
Why are there so many bad guys in this?
Mickey Mouse Club. Mickey Mouse Club.
Dude,
and the episode ends with Sam opening up the Wakandan package to see his new super suit.
Whatever.
I don't care.
You know there's an end credit scene.
You took too long to get there.
I did not know
I
that.
don't care.
There's an end credit scene. You guys didn't see it?
No.
I don't think I did.
I didn't watch
John
it.
Walker making his own shield.
Oh, fuck him.
In his basement.
Oh,
It took
fuck
freaking
him
Howard
so
Stark
hard.
to make that shield.
Where did he get the vibranium?
It wasn't vibranium. It was like cans.
Oh,
I'm not joking. Wait,
Shut up.
Yeah,
dude, Cage, fast
forward
forward.
to it right now.
Fast forward to that.
he was like taking his metals apart and then gluing them to it.
Oh
I'm not even
my
kidding.
God.
You didn't see this scene?
No.
No.
Oh, it's not cool.
Oh,
this
Jesus.
is also a reaction to
Yeah,
the
guys,
end
this
credits.
is a live reaction. The salting. I didn't know there was a post-credit scene, so we're going to watch it.
It's like bad welding and...
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he bedazzles.
All right, turn the volume up.
Yeah.
All right, so before we watch this, genuinely, having Isaiah be the mentor of Sam and having him, that whole arc would have been incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Because we all love Isaiah, right? Isaiah's like...
I'm
he's
invested
awesome.
in him.
Yeah,
I want a full
he's
season
emotional.
of Isaiah.
Yeah,
He's real.
And we're all anti-over government, like government's bad, right? We're all libertarians pretty much. Government bad.
Yeah.
People good.
People good.
Oh, what's happening?
I
Okay,
trust
so
no one.
Look at this nonsense.
what is he doing?
I told
That's
you.
a DeWalt grinder.
Yes, it is. Battery powered. Look at.
Okay, so he's taking his Medal of Honor.
He's gonna glue it to it.
He's got 3 of those.
Look at the terrible welds.
Oh, Jesus. I know welders.
Is that
I know
Yes.
welders on a personal
Yes.
level.
He's spray painting it?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes. You did not see that.
That thing's going to fall apart in 3 seconds.
Yeah. You guys are welcome.
Jesus Christ.
It's cardboard and
it was just
Medal of
running.
Honor.
It was just running.
Medals of Honor.
And I wasn't paying attention.
All right, so let's polish this episode off. Political messaging in a show is okay.
Yeah.
Right? We're all okay with that?
But fucking just
But
do
make it
right.
as long as it's done right.
But make it meaningful
Yeah.
and make it clever
Listen.
and intelligent.
I said this last episode. Don't just here's your episode and expect me to be like, thanks.
Yeah.
Because that's what this whole show is. And I'm so furious and I don't want to be force fed this garbage anymore. Give me fucking good ass chips or something. Don't give me this garbage. I don't want to eat garbage anymore.
Also, I love the idea that the government now has an actual super soldier, someone with powers that took that serum, and they're like, fuck off.
Yeah.
We're not going to use you anymore.
No, they don't know. They don't know he took the serum yet.
Yeah. Did he tell anybody?
No.
Only
Bucky and Sam know.
Only Elaine know.
Elaine. Elaine.
Well, I mean, like, you would think that he would tell them that in order to save his pension, at least.
No, they'll put him in Isaiah jail.
Yeah, that's also a good.
Well, he's a white man, so.
Yeah.
Oh, boy,
he'd be fine.
Is
But
there
it-
not danger of that?
Also, it's not the 50s.
You took some stolen serum and you've just been fired. I wouldn't admit that you now have super strength because they're going to be like, oh, shit. Yeah.
We're going to study
come
you.
with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good point,
That's a
Jude.
trick.
That's a good point.
Well,
Yeah.
they might have not fired him, is my point.
Hmm.
Like when the government has an actual weapon, as opposed to just a soldier in a costume.
Let's put this in the bigger picture.
Yeah, maybe they didn't fire him.
You have superpowers. Are you worried about losing your job or should you just go off on your own?
Well, if you're a guy whose entire identity is
Captain America.
Captain America, then yeah, you're worried about
But he's
losing your
I
job.
don't
He's
disagree with you. I'm just saying he has more options now.
He's going to turn into U.S. agent.
Yeah.
So he's going to be on the down low, CIA, Spec Ops.
Is U.S. Agent a good guy?
No.
He's like a murdering Captain America. Like he still thinks he's good, but he kills.
Oh, so he's Carly.
So he's John Walker.
He's John Walker. Yeah,
They're-
for real.
So they're doing a great job.
yeah.
And we kind of glossed over the fact that the GRC is holding a vote on the Patch Act, which is to redraw all the borders. And Carly and Batroc have teamed up to basically attack this vote. And Sam, about 3,000 miles away in Louisiana, he gets his new super suit, and he's like, "Oh, maybe
Where's
I
my
should go,
super suit?"
Yeah, maybe I should go stop these guys." So,
Well, I am glad that they're keeping Carly as the bad guy. Because there was a little while there was touch and go whether or not they were going to make her more sympathetic.
She's an anti-hero at this point. She's
an anti-hero?
I don't
think
care
she's
about
just,
her at all.
She's the Punisher. She'll kill you if you don't follow her ideology.
Oh, I
But depending on
disagree.
what her ideology is, she can be good or bad. Magneto. She's Magneto.
Oh, I don't. How dare you?
No, it's the same character. It's the villain that could do anything. It's why good never can really win. It's because good can only do good, but evil can do whatever it wants.
Ooh, that's deep.
Yeah, I've read a lot of comic books.
We're going to end it on that, guys.
Yeah.
That's our conversation. This was off the rails.
Stay evil, my friends.
we didn't follow our normal, like, what do you call it? The format. Thank you. We didn't follow our normal format for this podcast, but I think it was a really fun and intelligent conversation about the episode.
Show.
We did. Dude, I'm legit like,
It was
God damn it,
intelligent, but not intelligible.
what if Isaiah was the key to the whole thing?
I really wish that they had just.
It don't
focused
matter
on
now.
that.
And there's your heavy-handed political message about what it's like to be black in America,
Wait.
and it's
And
it's
start off in the 50s when they gave him the serum.
Are you guys ready? # salty cut.
Release
the salty cut.
Release the salty cut.
You could just recut this whole movie.
Just redo the whole thing.
No, you don't even refilm it. Just recut it.
Somebody call Anthony Mackie. All right, guys, that's it for our discussion. I had actually more fun talking about this episode than I did watching it.
Oh, same.
Okay, so where can we find everybody on the socials? Tom, where can they find you?
If you dig deep, you can find me on Instagram, Big T2681. Come say hello.
Right on.
Have you gotten any new followers since you started doing the podcast, Tom?
Yes, but they've all been Russian. And I don't think that any of them are listening to us.
Jude, where can they find you?
You can find me at IamJujuju on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok.
And Matthew Kadish.
Man, I don't even get Russian bots following me.
Oh, so many.
Are you jealous?
A little bit.
Okay.
A little bit.
I get thoughts that try to follow
You can find me at Matthew Kadish, Kadish on Twitter, and kadishbooks.com takes you to my Amazon page.
And I am the Salty Nerd. You can catch me on Twitter at salty_nerd. And if you want to talk about our version of what we thought this show could be, comment below on the video or tag me on Twitter or let me know what you guys think of our using Isaiah as the key to the whole thing on this show, because I think that's freaking genius. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you for listening. As always, like, subscribe, share with your friends, and stay salty, my friends.